Bluetooth frequency radio. The echo you hear is the sound of my head emptying out. Let's learn about things today. While you go to Amazon.com and buy a couple books by yours truly, there's official stories, a reverse textbook to all the lies I was taught in school, lies you were probably taught in school too, and there's the truth about love, which is the opposite of that. It's kind of the fun that you can have when you get to be an adult and you stop believing all the stories you were told in school. I'm writing my new book, tentatively working title, The Oil Alarm. It had migrated from This Is All Temporary, that was the title, to The Oil Alarm, which is what goes off in my head every day, the oil alarm. We're going to talk about oil. We're going to talk about phosphate, and Walmart. I've shopped at Walmart. I didn't say I shoplifted at Walmart. I don't know what you're... If you eat it before you get, all right, to the register, does it, I mean, you know, it's walking around money. It's wham. Number one, reading from Is Walmart Destroying America? Facts about Walmart that will absolutely shock you. By Michael Snyder. This is from 2012. This guy's kind of a religious end of the world guy. But all of his stuff is annotated and linked here, so let's just have a look. The average U.S. family now spends more than $4,000 a year at Walmart. In 2010, Walmart had revenues of $421 billion. That's such an echo. Did you hear that? $billion. I tell you what, I'm getting a pillow. I'll be right back. Let's try it now. Is that any better? A little better? Okay. We're a little insulated. In 2010, Walmart had revenues of $421 billion. Let me think, $1 billion. That's 421 Batman movies. Well, money doesn't have any value. Maybe we'll talk about that too. That amount was greater than the GDP, or gross domestic product. What does that mean? It's petrodollars. No, it's not how many bananas you grow. It's how much you can get people to buy those bananas that you slave away for. No, it's not how much love is in your heart. It's not how much food you grow in your garden. It's how much you can get people to pay you for the stuff that you do in American, European, Russian petrodollars, rubles, etc. That amount was greater than the GDP of 170 different countries, including Norway, Venezuela, hello Lake Maracaibo, and the United Arab Emirates, an oil-bearing nation. If Walmart were a nation, not was, we're talking the subjunctive, if Walmart were a nation, it would have the 23rd largest GDP in the world. Well, it's not a nation. Walmart now sells more groceries than anyone else in America does. Well, anyone? Yeah, probably anyone. In the United States today, 1 out of every 4 grocery dollars is spent at Walmart. Do you feel sick yet? 100 million customers shop at Walmart every single week. It has opened more than 1,100 super centers since 2005. They've been around since 1990 or so, or something like that. You can look it up. Today, Walmart, as of mid-2012, has more than 2 million employees. If Walmart were an army, it would be the second largest military on the planet behind China. Well, it would be a drug-addicted, obese military. Walmart is the largest employer in 25 different U.S. states, according to the Economic Policy Institute. Trade between Walmart and China, yes, direct trade between Walmart and China, resulted in the loss of 133,000 manufacturing jobs in the U.S. between 2001 and 2006. I'm just thinking about stuff that I see manufactured. Everything in Walmart is plastic. What is being manufactured? Diapers, adult diapers, pharmaceuticals, plastic towels, plastic bins, plastic chairs, plastic tables, plastic rugs, plastic wall hangings, plastic pencils, plastic pens. What else? Plastic paint, plastic CDs, plastic DVDs, manufacturing jobs. Tens of thousands of Walmart employees and their children are enrolled in Medicaid and are dependent on the government for health care because Walmart likes to hire part-timers. Between 2001 and 2007, the value of products that Walmart imported from China grew from $9 billion to $27 billion. That's 27 Batman movies. In revenue, not in cost. It's 270 in cost. Maybe I got that wrong. Billion, 270, something like that. 96% of all Americans now live within 20 miles of a Walmart. There's one over there. The number of independent retailers in the United States declined by 60,000 between 1992, hello Walmart, and 2007. That's where all those little stores went. They went into the Walmart. They're happy. They live in there. According to the Center for Responsive Politics, Walmart spent $7.8 million on political lobbying during 2011. 1 year. $7.8 million. Well, that makes sense. They have to have stores every 20 miles from where you live. That number does not even include campaign contributions. Well, why don't you include that? Today, Walmart has 5 times the sales of the second largest U.S. retailer, Costco. So it's 5 times 500% larger than Costco. And it owns Sam's Club. That's right. Sam's Club is Walmart. The combined net worth of 6 members of the Walton family, that's Sam Walton Walmart, is roughly equal to the combined net worth of the poorest 30% of all Americans. Poorest 30%, 340, 100 million. 6 people equals 100 million people. I smell revolution in the air. Walmart's market power is so immense that even the largest suppliers must comply with its demands for lower and lower prices, because they cannot afford to have their goods taken off the shelves. Companies that used to manufacture products in the United States, from Levi's jeans to the lockmaker Master Lock, were pressured to shut their U.S. factories and move manufacturing abroad to meet Walmart's demand for low prices. Walmart's market power is so immense that even the largest suppliers must comply with its demands for lower and lower prices because they cannot afford to have their goods removed from shelves. Sorry, I read that twice. The vast wealth that Walmart is sucking out of our communities is not put back into the community. The profits are funneled to Walmart executives and shareholders. We may enjoy the low prices, but very little of the money that we give to Walmart gets recycled in our area. That's right. All over the country, independent retailers are going out of business because they cannot compete with the Walmart and their super cheap Chinese products. Often communities will give Walmart huge tax breaks just to move into their areas. But what many communities don't take into account is that the introduction of a Walmart is devastating to small businesses. Goodbye, Main Street. Hello, Walmart. That's where the crowds are, by the way. If you go any small town on a Friday night, it's the Walmart. Seriously. It's like a town of plastic shit. A study of small and rural towns in Iowa showed the lost sales for local businesses ranged from negative 17% in small towns to negative 61% in rural areas, amounting to a total dollar loss of $2.5 billion over 13 years. I don't know how you figure that out. Good luck. Estimates. The United States has lost more than 56,000 manufacturing facilities since 2001. The United States has lost an average of about 50,000 manufacturing jobs a month since China joined the World Trade Organization in 2001. Don't you love capitalism, mercenary capitalism? Last year, the U.S. trade deficit with China, that would have been 2011, it was the largest that one nation has ever had with another in the history of the world. Walmart played a large role. In fact, Walmart has been forcing some U.S. manufacturers to move overseas. We already mentioned Levi's and Master Lock. The vast wealth that Walmart is sucking out of our communities is, I read this again. All right, that is an article, Is Walmart Destroying America? Facts about Walmart that will absolutely shock you. I don't think you need the adverb there. By Michael Snyder, July 4th. Oh, look at you, 2012. It's mercenary capitalism, everybody. It's mercenary capitalism. And we can look at the Walmart distribution model from another blog, presentation of the company. Let me find the author of this before I start. How unprofessional. I can't find it. Well, the Walmart distribution model, it is from a blog on the internet. It is written by somebody else. Walmart Stores, branded as Walmart, is an American public corporation that runs a chain of large discount department stores. In 2008, it was the world's largest public corporation by revenue. It is the largest majority private employer and the largest grocery retailer in the United States. Owns Sam's Club's retail warehouses in North America. Its operations are organized into 3 divisions: Walmart Stores US, Sam's Club, and Walmart International. Let's keep going. It enjoyed a 50% market share position in the discount retail industry with nearly 3,000 suppliers. Listen to this. The Walmart may have been the top consumer product manufacturer, may have been the top customer for consumer product manufacturers. It deliberately ensured that it did not become too dependent on any one supplier. No single vendor constituted more than 4% of its overall purchase volume. The current ratio in the last 5 years is below 1, between 0.8 and 0.9, according to Walmart. This is typical of strong distribution companies that pay their suppliers in 1, 2, or 3 month intervals, but they take cash immediately from customers. They use this lag as a financial source. In other words, less than 1%. If their store is 100%. No individual supplier, manufacturer, etc., supplies more than 4%, and the average is less than 1%. Therefore, they can't be held hostage by any manufacturer. No unions can get to them. They're not really dependent on any number of them would have to get together and band together to do any damage to them, and they probably won't. Let's skip topics and look at this article. Let's see if I have the author, Richard Holcomb. July 2006. This is quoted all over the place. Maybe I'll read the short version. You're listening to Liam Scheff on the Liam Scheff Show. The oil alarm is being sounded. We rely on things that we are running out of for the basics like eating, drinking, pooping, breathing, etc. Let's look at an article from oilprice.com. Oilprice.com is generally a pro-market, but I think relatively oil-conservative journal that actually does look at the idea of limited resources. They're not entirely foolish. Although climate, by Ed Dolan, I'll get back to the trucking article. Although climate change catches the headlines, it is not the only doomsday scenario out there. A smaller but no less fervent band of worriers thinks that peak phosphate, a catastrophic decline in the output of an essential fertilizer, will get us first. Well, the author has already defined people as worriers instead of, researchers, critics, etc. One of the worriers is Jeremy Grantham of the Global. Why don't you just call him an asshole? I mean, this is editorial bias in broad strokes. One of the researchers is Jeremy Grantham of the Global Investment Management firm GMO. You might want to change the name of that. Grantham foresees a coming crash of the Earth's population from projected 10 billion, projected, not where we are now, to no more than 1.5 billion. I happen to concur. Carrying capacity is probably about 1.5 to 2 billion. He thinks the rest of humanity will starve to death. I don't know. I haven't heard him say that because we are running out of phosphate fertilizer. This post on Business Insider from late last year provides an array of alarming charts to back up his warning. I doubt he says that we're all going to starve to death. He probably says what a lot of people say, which is birth rates will decline and death rates will increase, and especially the weak, the elderly, the infirm. But people who like to ridicule worriers print their stuff in the starkest, most extremist of terms. Foreign Policy is a journal that tells people who to kill overseas, agrees that phosphate shortages are a potential threat. If we fail to meet this challenge, write contributors James Elzer and Stuart White, humanity faces a Malthusian trap of widespread famine on a scale that we have not yet experienced. The geopolitical impacts of such disruptions will be severe. as an increasing number of states fail to provide their citizens with a sufficient food supply. What's going on here, writes this market-happy author from oilprice.com. Why we need phosphates and why we're in trouble. The element phosphorus, P on the periodic chart of elements, I think, is as essential to life as carbon or oxygen. Wait a second, I thought carbon dioxide was poison. It forms part of the structure of cell walls and DNA, without which no plant or animal can exist. Not even Johnny Depp in that silly movie. Phosphates are phosphorus in chemical forms that are available to plants. Some phosphates occur naturally in the soil as the result of weathering of rocks. But since the dawn of agriculture, farmers have added phosphate fertilizers, that's poop, to increase crop production. Manure, the traditional source, still accounts for about 15% of all phosphates used in agriculture. Hold on to that number for a second. But since mid-20th century, most such fertilizers come from phosphate rock. So they mine rock from around the world, and they throw it into the dead soil, and then they spray gas on it, anhydrous ammonium from natural gas, which is converted in really, truly, 90% of the cost of fertilizer is natural gas. So we're eating gas and rock. Phosphate, it says it used to come from manure. Now only 15% comes from manure. Well, if you do that carrying capacity argument, what's 15% of 10 billion? It is 1.5. I know that's a quick rough math, but if we're projected to get to 10 billion people, and then they're saying that we're going to go down to 1.5, and they're saying that we only get 15% of our, well, we could get more, right? Could we? I mean, maybe we could. Maybe you should start pooping near your lawn and not flushing it down into the pipes. All right? I know that math was a little bit bad. I'm aware of that. It was just being facile. What we appear to be running out of are deposits of phosphate rock that can be mined. But there's a point there. There's only so much cow poop we can put on fields. And there are only so much cows that we have a carrying capacity to support. And there are only so many people that we have a carrying capacity to support. And nobody's willing to do agriculture. Nobody's willing to get messy in their backyards. I mean, I'm trying to get people to grow backyard gardens, and you wouldn't believe the protests that I hear. Besides the normal American, I'm too busy, it's gunky, it'll attract pests, etc. Well, okay, but it's food. You don't have to mine phosphate rock to do it. You can build a composting toilet. If you can get some chickens for nitrogen, you can get some goats and rabbits. You can produce fertilizer on your own, right out of your own asshole. What we appear to be running out of are deposits of phosphate rock. I know, that's the highlight of the show. I peaked early. Phosphate rock that can be mined at reasonable cost with today's technology. Up to now, the United States has been a big producer, but its reserves are declining. China has a lot, but its domestic use is soaring, and it's not a big exporter. Fuck you. That's them to us, not me to them. North Africa has the biggest reserves, but some of them are in politically unstable regions, like the Western Sahara. Get out, white man. Get out English. The following widely, well, why not? We tried to enslave them all, and we did. The following widely reproduced diagram from a 2009 paper in Global Environmental Challenge depicts the peak phosphorus hypothesis in the form of a Hubbard curve. It's just a red curve, don't worry about it. It goes up and goes down. Can the market save us? Well, I know what to do with a rhetorical question. Yes, a shortage of phosphates could spell trouble, but don't forget about markets. Markets have never gotten us into trouble. Fukushima's market-driven, and look what... Adjusting to shortages is just what markets are for. Really? I thought they were for convincing us that markets were for other things, while people slowly starve to death around the world of dysentery. With dysentery, malaria, tuberculosis, etc. Then the market comes along and calls it AIDS, gives them a red ribbon and some drugs that cost $10,000 a year that we, the American taxpayer, foot the bill for so that we can feel better when Bono goes out and pins red ribbons on people in Africa who are starving to death and have malaria and tuberculosis. As economists see it, depleting a resource like phosphate rock is supposed to cause its price to rise. As the price rises, two things are supposed to happen. A lot of supposing around here. First, users are supposed to figure out ways to get by with less. I'm sorry. Hey, ground, can you use less phosphate and grow the corn that we think that we want? And second, producers are supposed to find new sources of a supply. Excuse me, dangerous parts of the world, can you blow up your ground and steal stuff that we want and not pay you? Will this happen in the case of phosphates? Or do they have unique properties that will prevent markets from working their magic? All right, I've had enough of this guy. Ed Dolan, I give you the Bonehead of the Week award. Markets and magic. Let's think about markets and magic. Let's think about Love Canal, New York. Let's think about perchlorate. Let's think about PCBs. Let's think about NutraSweet, saccharin. Let's think about 6 mile a gallon cars. It's the market working its magic. It's the market working its magic. Well, what does he say in the end? He says, maybe we can improve farm management practices and mine consumer waste. Therefore, we could cut phosphates needed to produce the present U.S. farm output. We can grow more corn, which takes, no, that doesn't work. Well, that's what we're doing. We're growing more corn to create more phosphates. What else can we do? There are significant developments on the supply side. Michael Mew of the Ferticon Research Center notes that the producers are already learning how to upgrade lower quality phosphate rock reserves. How? And are modifying processing plants to accept lower quality inputs. I think that takes coal, oil, and natural gas, and water, and probably a lot of chemicals, and also it releases a lot of chemicals. All right, no problem there. We'll never run out of coal, oil, natural gas, or drinking water. Also, he notes that increasing vertical integration of industry, buzzword, has resulted in a dog barking crazily, insanely. I can't argue with that. Oh, dogs bark. There are significant developments on the supply side, right. So what do they want us to do? They want us to recycle, here it is. Several methods could recover a high percentage of phosphorus from wastewater. Hold on, wait a second. Given low prices for phosphate that prevailed until recently, it did not pay to recover phosphorus, spent phosphorus in usable forms. We could remove phosphorus from sewage in order to preserve water quality in the rivers and streams. We could mine land. Much of it has ended up as sludge buried in landfills. Jobs of the future. I see them opening up. Sewage miner, landfill tunnel diggler. No, I'm serious. It's right here. At some price, doing so will become a profitable alternative to producing phosphate fertilizers from increasingly low-grade rock. It may even become worthwhile to mine phosphate from sewage sludge buried in old landfills. Oh, great and glorious future, have we arrived? I'm done with this article. This guy's a total diggler. This is Liam Scheff on the Liam Scheff Show. You're listening to Truth Frequency Radio. It is a frequency where the truth sometimes evades the alien sensors and reaches your ears. You're listening to UCY TV. You see why? Because. Why? Because we want you to mine sludge. We want you to mine old feces. We do. That's the future. In the next half hour, let's look at this concept if trucks stopped running. If the trucks stopped running, no, it's not a Dr. Seuss book, but I think it should be. Day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5 without trucks, 4 weeks. It's a very exciting thought to those of you who have sworn off television, because television is a distraction. Although I haven't seen Mad Men forever, and I wonder, is Don dating someone new, and has Peggy taken on a new client? Yes, America is held enraptured by Mad Men. Don is seeing someone new. Don has a breakthrough about his past. Peggy takes on a new client. Roger gets drunk. No! Never mind that phosphorus stuff. Western Sahara, writes Tom Philpott in Mother Fracker Jones. A sparsely populated slice of desert on Africa's northwestern coast doesn't get much ink. As a potential crisis point in the global food system, you've probably never heard of the long-standing independence movement in the Morocco-controlled territory, or that the area harbors vast stores of an element critical to contemporary agriculture. Morocco, it is thought, holds up to 85% of the globe's known phosphate rock reserve, and a lot of it lies in the Western Sahara. Morocco's royal family thus controls what Jeremy Grantham, co-founder of the prominent Boston-based global investment firm Grantham Mayo Van Otterberg Incorporated, or GMO, remember, change that name, Jeremy Grantham, you worrier, calls the most important quasi-monopoly in economic history. Now, this is a different tone of this article, right? They're feeling differently about it. Let's pick this up when we get back. You're listening to the Liam Scheff Show. Please, God, please support independent journalism. Please go buy my book, Official Stories. It's a wonderful book. You will not regret it. You will love it. You'll fall in love with it. You'll tell people it's an electric universe out there. What do you mean the Earth's growing and shrinking at exactly the same rate of speed? No, Shakespeare didn't write Shakespeare. Of course it was the CIA who engineered almost everything in 20th century history after World War II. Come on, give me a break. You won't abide those silly, nonsensical lies anymore. All because of one book. Official Story is available at Amazon.com and on ebooks, PCs, Macs, and other intrauterine devices. Yes, the Macintosh IU, Macintosh Intrauterine, is coming to a store near you. Now your fetus won't have to do without the wonderful world of Macintosh programming and apps. What's little Junior? What apps is little Junior picking out now? Mommy can watch on a simulcasting screen to see what the future president of a startup company is playing with in utero. This is Liam Scheff and the Liam Scheff Show. We'll smooth that commercial out when we do it. See you in a minute. Hi, it's Liam with a UCY special. We were talking about phosphorus, reading from an article by Tom Philpott in Mother Fracker Jones. Who cares about phosphorus? For starters, every living thing on Earth, including humans, since all the crops we eat depend on it to produce healthy cells. Till the mid-20th century, farmers maintained phosphorus levels in soil by composting plant waste or spreading phosphorus-rich manure. Then new mining and refining techniques gave rise to the modern phosphorus fertilizer industry, say that 3 times fast, and farmers, particularly in the rich temperate zones of Europe and North America, quickly became hooked on quick, cheap, and easy phosphorus. Hi, I'm phosphorus. I'm quick, cheap, and easy. Now the rest of the world is scrambling to catch up, and annual phosphorus demand is rising nearly twice as fast as the population. Do that math. Our addiction to cheap phosphorus is risky for 2 reasons. The first, better known one, is that not all the phosphorus that farmers put on their land is absorbed by crops. A lot leaches into the water, ending up in lakes and rivers, where it creates algal blooms, which as they decompose and suck up oxygen, create dead zones. Yes, it is the oceans of the world that create the oxygen that we breathe. Good luck. But the scarier reason, really, not to me, like any mined material, a phosphate rock is a finite resource. What is that? And there's a fierce debate about just how long our supply can last. Peak phosphorus doesn't get a lot of buzz, but it should. In a recent essay in Nature, Grantham, worrier, who also runs an environmental foundation, put the case bluntly. Our phosphorus use must be drastically reduced in the next 20 to 40 years, or we will begin to starve. Well, that's about what I suspected that he would write, not that we're all going to starve at once. Now, you see the article from oilprice.com, which is so market happy, it can't see the nuances in what this guy is saying. It's a decline. It's a bubble. It's not a bubble. It's a natural occurring depletion curve. A bubble pops and is gone. But a naturally occurring depletion curve goes up, comes down, and on the downslope is where a lot of big honking changes happen, and that's where we are. That's where we are. We're on the oil downslope. People don't want to realize that. We're on the phosphorus downslope. We might be. They might decide to mine like essential what they're doing with oil is frack mining. They might do the same thing with phosphorus in a way and get a lot of bad rock and have a lot of toxins as a result. So we may have plenty of it. We don't know. But the cheap stuff may be gone. There's a solution. It's called composting toilets, and I'm not kidding. You're listening to the Liam Scheff Show on UCY TV. We will be back in 1, 2, 3 seconds. Hi, welcome back to the Liam Scheff Show on UCY TV and Truth Frequency Radio. Let's finish that article. We were talking about peak phosphate, peak phosphorus. In the first half, we looked at an article by a fellow at oilprice.com, a market-happy, market-driven journal that I like on oil because it's generally a little bit reasonable about the fact that it's a limited resource. But the author on the phosphate question seemed to believe in markets. Now, this Mother Jones article, of course, wants to be a little more environmental. Let's see what we get. We're reading from You Need Phosphorus to Live, and we're running out by Tom Philpott. He was talking about the fact that this is an environmentally dangerous thing to do. It's not just something that you ask the earth for. It spits it out like a gumball machine putting out a plastic toy. Grantham isn't alone. We were talking about this fellow Grantham who runs a group. He was called a worrier in the other article. In this one, he's an academic or a researcher. A group of Australian and European academics caused a small furor in 2009 when they predicted that phosphorus production would peak by 2030, after which point prices would rise dramatically. That would squeeze farmers, drive up food prices globally, and hand massive geopolitical leverage to the Moroccan government. Look for war in Morocco soon, which repeatedly owns 94% stake in the country's mining and fertilizer company. One more time, when we invade Morocco, you'll know why. The United States does have some phosphate reserves. The most heavily mined of those are in Florida. Hello! But phosphate mining is an environmentally devastating project. It requires stripping large swaths of land and generates massive amounts of a waste product called phosphogypsum, which contains low levels of Hold on a second. Generates massive amounts of a waste product called phosphogypsum. And then I'm thinking about the gypsy musician. And remember in the other article, it was just that the market can handle this? Listen to this one more time. We generate massive amounts of a waste product that contains low levels of radiation as well as a range of toxic heavy metals. The market can handle it. In Florida, no one knows what to do with the stuff, so it's been sitting in huge piles in mining regions. Where? The Everglades. The Environmental Protection Agency estimates, that's always a bad way to start a sentence, that Central Florida already houses, among the homeless that it doesn't house, nearly 1 billion metric tons of phosphogypsum, and 32 million metric tons are added each year. The equivalent of the combined weight of approximately 6.4 million elephants, as the EPA document notes. Thanks. Moreover, thank God I couldn't convert into elephant weight. Moreover, Florida's phosphate reserves are dwindling fast. They're expected to run out within 25 years, and we're already importing 10% from Morocco. Just as we can't drill our way out of our addiction to oil. Addiction? I don't think it's an addiction. We've actually built something that's made of oil. It's not an addiction. That's the lifeblood of the society that we built. It's not an addiction. If you take away the oil, the society that we built goes away. It's the wrong word. It's a necessity. It's an a priori. You cannot have the society that we've built without oil. There's no mining our way out of phosphorus problems. Solving it will mean changing our way of farming and eating. Luckily, adverb, that's possible. And in another paper, the same group of Australian and European agricultural experts described how. How do you do an Australian European accent? We can curb our phosphorus habit by eating less meat. Carnivorous diets burn as much as 3 times more phosphorus than vegetarian ones? I don't know what do you mean burn. Burn phosphorus? What do you mean? Utilize? What, for plant growth? What is he saying? Carnivorous diets take more phosphate because cows have to eat about 20 pounds or something in that range, 17 to 20 something pounds of grain or soy or something that uses the phosphate to produce 1 edible pound of meat. So that's what they're talking about. It's actually more than 3 times. Reducing food waste and shifting to farming techniques that conserve soil nutrients, including organic agriculture and permaculture. Yeah, that's right. We could all grow permaculture organic plots and stop eating cows in my dreams. Really, in my dreams, because Americans are fat, lazy, and lazy. And if they're not fat, they're lazy. And if they're hardworking, they're so hardworking that they can't stop that cycle. They can't get off the wheel. They won't do it. So if they're not fat, lazy, and stupid is no way to go through life, son. If you are not fat nor lazy, and you're very hardworking, as many people are, at jobs that you don't know why you're doing, as many people do, you don't have time. You go to the Walmart, which we discussed in Chapter 1 of today's show, and you become one of the people putting $4,000 of your annual budget into Sam Walton's family's plastic made-in-China coin purse. What can we do? But none of this will be enough without a serious effort to recycle the phosphate that we now squander, and that means better use of animal manure. Right now meat production is concentrated in areas like North Carolina and Iowa, whose massive feedlots produce more manure that can be absorbed by nearby land. Smaller and more widely distributed meat operations would help on that front. And it wouldn't hurt to figure out safe ways to reuse the abundant sources of phosphorus, i.e. human pee. There's enough phosphorus in your annual output of urine to provide for more than half of all the grain you consume in a year. There you go. Pee in your breakfast cereal. No one argues that any of this will be easy. Well, sure, just open the box and pee. But neither will paying a king's ransom to Moroccan royal family. Well, what about getting off of cows? I mean, why not? Why don't we get off of cows once and for all? I put it to you, Mr. Speaker. New projections of peak phosphorus, paper published at resilience.org through, it's more of the same. More of the same, just now with more footnotes. Phosphorus and its compounds are used as fertilizers, animal feed detergents, and metal treatment operations. Steen, 1998. I hate that kind of writing. Listen to this. More than 80%. Steen, 1998. Cordell et al., 2009. Van Vuren et al., 2010. Who cares? What, am I going to check all your fucking references? This is an online article. Just put a couple notes at the bottom saying that's what these guys said. Jesus God. Academia is the reason the world doesn't work. It takes these guys so long to say anything. All right. You're listening to the Liam Scheff Show. We've been talking about phosphate, peak phosphate. I want to talk a little more about other fun things we're doing to the planet. Because what's the message, Liam? You're trying to get us to kill ourselves? Well, maybe half of us on the planet maybe should find another planet to inhabit. It's not our fault. I'm including myself. Maybe there are too many of us. Maybe we started to eat the mass-produced rock, phosphate, and gas-sprayed food, and we just didn't know we weren't supposed to. We didn't know that the human species is kind of a parasite and uses everything it can until it's gone and then uses more. I wanted to talk about something else. I had a good article about plastic. Here it is. Peak soil, plastic, cheap fat, and we'll get to that. That's a good one to end with. It's from Peak Oil Barrel, run by Ron Patterson. This is published just last year. They're still publishing weekly, sometimes daily. They picked up, among a lot of other pages, where the old oil drum dropped off. Let's see. There was one article here I wanted to get to. And while I'm looking, you can go to my webpage, liamscheff.com, read the little articles I sometimes put up. I put more stuff up on Facebook because more people read Facebook than any individual website. They're like the Walmart of the internet. Thank you. I just coined that. Yes, it's true. Here we go. Positive money. How banks create money. We know this. We know that money is based on a hole that you dig in the future. I will gladly pay you Tuesday for a hamburger today. That's exactly the banking system. And I don't know if the writer of the Popeye comics was aware of that, but that's the banking structure. If I give a bank $10, they feel like they have the right to make $100, maybe even $1,000 in loans. Usually it's $100, but that's called fractional reserve lending. So if I give them $10 and everybody gives them $10 to hold, they can lend $1,000 on paper because they figure all of us aren't going to come back and collect our $10 at the same time. So they have a rotating stock of tens, meaning they can give out a fake rotating stock of thousands. I know I know I explained that too simply. It couldn't possibly be that way. That's exactly how it is. That's exactly what it is. How banks create money. From positivemoney.org, orgasm. I think that's what it means. .orgasm. Most of the money in our economy is created by banks in the form of bank deposits, the number that appears in your account on the digital screen. Banks create new money whenever they make loans. 90% of the money in the economy today is created by banks, while just 3% is created by government. This short video explains. Well, you can't watch the video. The money that banks create isn't the paper money that bears the logo of the government-owned Bank of England or the Federal Reserve. It's the electronic deposit money that flashes up on the screen when you check your balance at an ATM. Right now, this money, bank deposits, makes up over 97% of all the money in the economy. Only 3% of the money is still that old-fashioned form of cash that you can touch. Banks can create money. That doesn't sound too bad so far. At least there's money going into the bank. But hold on. Banks can create money through the accounting they use when they make loans. It's just what I said. The numbers that you see when you check your account balance are just accounting entries in the bank's computers. These numbers are a liability, or IOU, from the bank to you. The bank owes you. It's a debt that they took out from the future. But by using your credit card or internet banking, you can spend these IOUs as though they were the same as money, real money. By creating these electronic IOUs, and I even mean the paper bills, say this is good for all debts, public and private, banks can effectively create a substitute for money. In the video below, Professor Dirk Bessemer of the University of Groningen and Michael Kuhn, you're not going to watch the video. Every new loan that a bank makes creates new money. While this is often hard to believe at first, it's common knowledge that the people that manage the banking system. In March 2014, the Bank of England released a report called Money Creation in the Modern Economy, where they state commercial, i.e. high street banks, create money, that would be like Wall Street, in the form of bank deposits by making new loans. When a bank makes a loan, for example, to someone taking out a mortgage to buy a house, it does not typically do so by giving them thousands of pounds worth of banknotes or gold or silver. Instead, it credits their bank account with a bank deposit of the size of the mortgage. At that moment, new money is created. When they give you a loan, they invent money. The world works on loans. Money itself is a loan from the future that we intend to pay back. When we need to print more money, we take out a loan from the future. We go to the Federal Reserve. We say, we'd like to print this much money. How much can you lend us? Well, I'll lend you $6 trillion with 2% interest. Oh, 2%, that's not bad. On $6 trillion? Sir Mervyn King, really? The governor of the Bank of England from 03 to 13 recently explained this point to a conference of business people. When banks extend loans to their customers, they create money by crediting their customers' accounts, said Sir Mervyn King, governor of the Bank of England. And Martin Wolf, who was a member of the Independent Commission on Banking, put it bluntly, saying in the Financial Times that the essence of the contemporary money system is the creation of money out of nothing by private banks, often foolish lending. By creating money in this way, banks have increased the amount of money in the economy by an average of 11.5% a year over the last 40 years. This has pushed up the prices of houses and priced out an entire generation. Of course, the flip side to this creation of money is that with every new loan comes new debt. This is the source of our mountain of personal debt, not borrowing from someone else's life savings, but borrowing from money that was created out of nothing by banks as a loan from the future. Eventually, the debt burden becomes too high, resulting in the wave of defaults that triggered the 08, 09, 10 financial crisis. It's just important to talk about money a little bit. Money is a representation of the ability to do work. You can print money as long as you have oil, or I suppose an infinite number of slaves. As long as you have oil or an infinite number of slaves, you can print money, because then you can do work. If you don't have that, you can't print money because you can't back it up with work. If I'm running a fire company to put out fires, I have fire trucks, and I want to put out a fire, I need a liquid in the tank that can put out a fire. I suppose it doesn't really matter if it's pure water, it just has to be some sort of water. And I have to have something to pump it and put out the fire. If I come up with a truck, it doesn't matter how pretty the truck is, even if it has gas in the engine but I don't have any water, it's not a fire truck anymore. I can't do the work it's supposed to do. Oil is the water for the fire truck of the United States economy. I realize it's a double-layered metaphor and it doesn't work, but it's the most important thing for the job. Oil is the thing that makes everything else work. It makes the bricks that tile the buildings, it makes the paints that go in the buildings, it makes the cement by cooking the limestone, it makes the plastic furniture, it makes the glass the mirrors in the bathrooms. Mirror in the bathroom, it makes the paper boxes that we ship, that UPS ships 18 million packages or something like that a day with. That's for next time. I mean, when we let's talk about UPS soon, because those numbers are astounding. You could just, God, the amount of stuff we could save if we cared about saving, but we don't. Why don't we? We don't care about saving because we can print money. And people have become very confused. People imagine that money is the same thing as the work that it does. But it's not. When oil runs low and there's no ability to do the actual physical machine labor, you have to understand that nothing else matters to the modern society. Yes, here's something from Foreign Policy that says that this is going to be the decade, even century of gas, and they don't understand that natural gas is going to peak faster than oil. So they're crazy. Everybody's crazy in their own way. Let's see what I'm reading about. I've got 15 horrible Wikipedia pages open. When you read Wikipedia, you just have to hold your nose. I mean, because you can see the lines, like where the official parties get upset, or they cross something out, or they attack somebody. You're like, well, oh, trucks. I got it. Okay, we're back. We're back on the Liam Scheff Show. We're back on schedule. We got a great article to look at. This is exactly where I wanted to go. Thank goodness I left all these web pages open. It's just taking me a little while to get through them. Jack 2, Deepwater Horizon. Ixtoc 1, Deepwater Horizon Oil. Banks Create Money. Dmitry Orlov. Reuters. Oh, come on, you son of a gargoyle's mother. Show me the article I was reading. Show it to me. Come on. All right. Finding. Still finding. I didn't close it, did I? Do you remember me closing the article that I was trying to read to you? And we're vamping. This is the Liam Scheff Show. I'm desperately, I hate to use an adverb, searching for the article that I wanted to read to you, which I have just found. Peak phosphorus, mass extinction. When trucks stop running, civilization stops running. October 1st, by Energy Skeptic. In Why You Should Love Trucks, I showed that Essential Supply, by Alice Friedman, I showed that essential supply chains depend on trucks partly or completely in the movement of goods. I wanted to talk with you about, it's not just, everybody there will run low on oil. We're not going to run low on oil. No, let's talk about oil getting really expensive. Let's put it in those terms. and then we'll understand it. Because of little inventory and dependence on just-in-time deliveries, our civilization would almost immediately feel the repercussions of trucks stopping. Now, why would trucks stop? Let's say that they didn't stop. Let's say there was a natural disaster in some place would stop trucks from going. That's happened. A cataclysm in some place, a disruption of national highway systems from place to place. But what would really slow down trucking would be gas that was $8 a gallon. And that would stop us from having the network that we have. So let's look at the emergency just to feel like what the long emergency might be like. Because the emergency happens quickly and the long emergency happens slowly, and you have a little more time to prepare. Day one, and the author says, I found 3 articles about what would happen. They all come to similar conclusions. Holcomb was the one I was going to read to you, McKinnon, SARHC, which is an organization, unless it's somebody hated their kid and named him SARHC. Hello, I'm Sarche. Day one without trucks. National trucking, interstate trucking, 50 states and Alaska. 48 states and Alaska. Manufacturers and assembly lines that use just-in-time delivery will shut down when parts, I know what I said, 50 states and Alaska. I'm Obama, I get it. Manufacturers and assembly lines that use, just laugh it up, fuzzball, that use just-in-time delivery will shut down when parts run out or storage for finished products fill up. So, manufacturers, I mean, we were talking about Walmart's being 20 minutes away from you, wherever you are. Well, they're all within an hour of a distribution node, but those distribution nodes can be 1,500 miles away from ports, 1,700 miles away from ports. So it's that 1,700 miles that you got to worry about. Because the 20 minutes that's not real. It's the port that brings stuff in from other countries. Manufacturers and assembly lines that use just-in-time delivery will shut down when parts run out or storage for finished products fills up because you can't put them out, you can't bring them in. Hospitals will run out of supplies like syringes and catheters within hours. Yes, the sick die quickly. Milk and fresh bread, there is no such thing in America, will run out. Well, boo-hoo for the milk and fresh bread. Don't give a shit. Because all of that's poisonous. But the rest of hospitals, I understand that I'm supposed to care, but those things are death centers. Manufacturing, yeah, that stops. How about day 2? Food shortages will escalate. Now you're affecting me because, thank goodness I'm not in a hospital, and thank goodness I'm not eating bread from a store. Food shortages will escalate, especially in the face of hoarding and consumer panic. Supplies of essentials and perishable foods will disappear. Restaurants, we're talking day 2 of a national truck outage. Restaurants and fast food outlets close. Day 2. ATMs run out of cash. Day 2. Construction stops. Day 2. Why? Not delivering cement, rebar, riveting, metal, scraps, iron, etc. Pharmacies close. Well, boo-hoo. Well, I understand for some people that seems like a big deal. But it's a big deal for me if I can't get, oregano oil or a natural antibiotic if I need it. Americans generate 685,000 tons of trash per day. Garbage starts piling up in urban and suburban areas and creates a toxic zone. Day 2. Day 3 without trucks. Most service stations will run out of fuel. Widespread layoffs in the manufacturing sector. Wastewater sludge, that's right, sewage now becomes a problem as tanks at treatment plants are now full. Why are they full? Because they've not been able to get their allotments of chlorine and chemicals that supposedly clean the water. So the water system is dependent on the trucking system. Think about that. Our water system is dependent directly on gasoline and trucks. We have built the most fragile civilization in the history of the world. Public transport, fire, police, ambulances, telecommunications, utilities, mail, and other essential services stop. Day 3. Day 4 without trucks. The repercussions start to reverberate globally as 48,000 imported containers per day can't be unloaded off of ships. Exports stop too. Well, again, this is a science fiction concept that all trucking in North America would stop. But the idea is how desperately tenuous is our culture that it depends this much on trucks. Understand that food and water have already stopped within 3 days. With no fuel, airplanes and railroads shut down. Yes, trucks carry fuel. and they carry coal. Railroads may still be in some operation, but unless you're taking the coal by rail from the mine, you're taking it by truck, which is exactly what's happening. Garbage has become a sanitary problem. Britain is out of beer. That's right, Britain is out of beer. Stop the presses. We can't let this happen. Drinking water, day 5, is depleted. The delay because you can't get the chemicals to the processing plants to make drinking water for the municipal system. The delay of weekly deliveries of chemicals has meant that water treatment plants can no longer guarantee that water is fit to drink. Industrial production stops. A large proportion of the labor force is laid off, but you may not even be able to boil stuff on your stove because the gas has to come from somewhere, and that comes from trucks and da-da-da-da-da. I mean, you don't get gas from the gas company. They get it from the mining company and the processing plant, the industrial plant. The petroleum server. Healthcare is confined to emergency services. Utilities have localized disruption of gas and electricity, and due to lack of fuel, can't pump water and gas, repair broken water and gas networks, etc. Livestock begin to suffer from lack of feed deliveries, waste accumulation. Ranchers can't transport animals to slaughterhouses. Meat production stops. The Swedish alcohol retail monopoly is out of control. I swear to God, that's what that says. I'm not reading it again. Within 4 weeks, the nation will exhaust its clean water supply and will be safe for drinking only after boiling. But we don't have gas, necessarily. If this happened at harvest time, many crops will rot in the fields. The Department of Defense supply chain will break down, crippling the military in ways no adversary has been able to achieve, and the global financial collapse, a halt of international trade, will bring the financial system down, probably sooner than this. This is Liam Scheff on The Liam Scheff Show. Thanks very much for listening. Please buy my book, support independent journalism. Go to Amazon.com, buy a copy or 5 official stories, buy The Truth About Love, and keep me in clean socks. Well, much love. Plant a garden, grow a garden with neighbors, break down those suburban walls, and plant food trees everywhere you go. Now for a UCY special. It's the Runout Groove on the Liam Scheff Show. Oh, that was a good show. I'm sitting here leaning back, my stomach full of, I think I had, what a little curly pasta called? Macaroni. Whole grain organic macaroni. Were they organic? Were they whole grain? No one can tell. They come from a store. The store is called Whole Foods. Is the food whole? Not really. They got a whole lot of food, and it's pretty processed. I was in the Holier Than Thou Foods the other day, and there was a nice girl demoing, as they say. Demoing is a job now, has been for 10 years. Demoing a product. The product was Amazing Grass, and Amazing Grass comes from a farm in Kansas, I think. So they actually know the source, and that's, I don't know, 1,500 miles away. Nice girl demoing, tall girl demoing it. Nice. Attractive features, big, strong, and I don't know what to tell you. I think it's all fake. I think it all goes away. I'm trying to get people to grow food. Grow your food. Get together in collectives. You know what people say? I don't have time for that. Do you know how busy I am? I have 2 children, and I have 4. I have my animals are my children, and I just don't have any time for that. I have a friend who's having some debilitating disease. I've been telling him for years, why don't you change your diet? Oh, I can't get an appointment with a doctor. I didn't say see a doctor. I said, why don't you change your diet? Liam. They say my name like I just, like, I don't know, told them to get the golden fleece, to cut off Medusa's head. Why don't you change your diet? Liam, cutting off Medusa's head is I didn't say cut off Medusa's head. Liam, battling King Minos' bastard Minotaur son and getting out of the maze is very difficult. I didn't say you had to do that. I just said, why don't you change your diet? Liam. What? Just change your diet. Why don't you go on a raw fast or, eat 80% raw, just get a blender. You don't have to get a Vitamix. You don't need a Vitamix. Just get a blender and, Liam. Liam, I enjoy my fistfuls of butter-flavored popcorn at night, and I enjoy my chocolate Haagen-Dazs, and I will only give it up if a doctor tells me. All right. Then I'll see you in hell. This is Liam Scheff. Your tauntaun will freeze out. Freezing that stuff. This is Liam Scheff and the Liam Scheff Show. Bouncing between popular culture and unpopular culture. See you next time. Please go buy a book or two. Please support independent journalism. Please go to my website and deposit something in the PayPal. Keep yours truly in short pants. See you soon.